Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Juliana. Today I'm going to talk about my February wrap up. I'm going to talk about the books that I read, the books that I'm currently reading, and then documentaries and movies. I think that's the only thing that I watched during February. So beginning with the books that I read, they were both for the same video because I did a vlog that it was a whole thing that I talked to you about if you have accompanied the saga of that vlog. It was something with the storage of my computer. Then I could solve it on my own, but I don't know if I'm going to have the same problem again, in a few weeks or something. I don't know. I have to see. But okay, so I could render the video and upload it to YouTube, so it's up. And that vlog is about the shooting party by Isabel Colegate. This is from 1980, and Sybil or the Two Nations by Benjamin Disraeli, and this is from 1845. So the shooting party is passing by in England, in the countryside of England. As the title says, is a shooting party. So we have a family, the Nettlebys, that are hosting a shooting party in their property in the countryside for a multitude of guests that are very different among each other. Some are couples, some are single, some are younger, some are older. So they are a mix of people. And we have the hosts, so Sir Randolph and Minnie. They are more middle-aged, shall we say. And we accompany the perspective of Sir Randolph about the guests that are coming. So he has a lot to say about their personalities, if he likes them, if he doesn't. So it's all on his thoughts, but we accompany, what Sir Randolph thinks of the guests. And then we have Minnie, his wife, that she's kind of a matchmaker, even if between people there that are single and married, you know what I mean? So she has a sixth sense to those type of thing, and it brings a lot of romantic endeavors. But this is all passing by during the autumn of 1913, if I'm not mistaken. So the last autumn before the beginning of the First World War. And this is kind of this talks about the rights of animals. And there's a character here that he is against shooting sports, and he will be a vocal voice in this book. We also have the lives of the servants, so the disparity between the people upstairs and the people downstairs, you know what I mean? So we have a mix of subjects that are being discussed in this book, and it's very little, which is very astonishing how the author could, put so much in a single story and so short. But I really liked it, and I really recommend it. Then in Sybil, this is political, satirical or critical, more point of view of the lives of the working class, comparing them with the aristocracy in England in 1837 to 1844, if I'm not mistaken. So during the Chartist movement in England, and we have here Sybil, that's one of the main characters of this book. She is a young lady, that she is a daughter of a factory worker, and she will be the pendulum in the ideas of another character, Charles Egremont, that he's the youngest son of family of landlords, and they will meet, and Sybil will have a strong impact on Charles Egremont that will be long-lasting in it, because he has a political career, and so many things will happen in this book. I'm not going to elongate too much, because if you are curious, you can go watch the vlog. I put the times for each check-in, so it's more easy for you to navigate the video. So I just have to point out that at the end of this book, something happens that it didn't quite satisfy me, because I stayed with the idea that something happened just because something was found out. So the turn of events were very convenient and very... Sybil will make a decision that it will not be explicit. We won't have the description of the events being taken, so we will just hear from it after the fact. Although she and Egremont made the decision before something was known, I think that's the point in the story where, okay, they figure it out. But then it had to happen something, and it was too convenient for my taste, you know. So that's the only thing that I have to say about this book, but beyond that, I think this is quite interesting. So I should be saying that I have already finished The English Patient by Michael Ondaatje, but I didn't, or I haven't. I know this stuff with my computer and the storage and lack of memory and the video not rendering, and I was in my free time I was trying to figure out what I could do to solve the problem, and then other stuff got in between and my reading time kind of fell short. So I'm still reading The English Patient, and I'm about to start Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov. So they are the books that are in my TBR right now. So passing to documentaries, I saw season 1 of Hijos de las Estrellas. This is from 2014. So this is, yes, Children of the Stars, that's how it is translated. And this is endeavor from South America mainly. This is from all North, Center and South America, but the lead scientists that are talking and the lead experts that are talking are from South America, are Latinos. This talks about since Chile, Peru, California from North America, Florida from North America. So this talks about Alma Project in Chile, Vista Project, touristic points for observation of the night sky, experiences by NASA with a Colombian man and other 5 men with a duration of 18 months in a simulation through a voyage to get to Mars, being Mars for 2 months, I think, and coming back for 8 months. So 8 months to get to Mars, 2 months in planet Mars, and then 8 months to come back to Earth. And they did an experience where they were confined to a small space, all of them, and they had to, eat there, make experiences there, and so on and so forth. So that was very interesting. Then we have also a project called Project Venus by Jack Fresco. That is a futuristic, should we say, project with integration between the architecture and the nature, and with alternative mechanisms to get energy. That was very interesting. Then we have the relations, the cultural and historical relations between the stars and Latin America, Central and Latin America, with ancient people, like ancient tribes, like how they did the calendars according to the movement of the sun, of the moon, of the stars, how they came to be and how they were able to calculate that and make an annual calendar. So how also because of luminous pollution, animals like turtles get disorientated and sometimes die because of that, because they follow the artificial lights and not the moonlight. So stuff like that. Then it also talks about a project that I thought, I had no idea this was happening right now, that's called Project Vivos in Kansas, North America. That is a conjunction of bunkers to live with everything available, like food, water, electricity, and accommodations, a bed, a kitchen, and so on, to live for a full year in case of a catastrophe. And so you have to pay to get a seat in Kansas. So I think he talked about $6,000 per person. Then he talked about the Project Paranal. That's the biggest observatory in the world in Peru. Project Amazons, that was in construction in 2014. And it will be 10 years of construction. So a lot of things this documentary talks about, and it's so interesting. I highly advise you to go and check it out. Then in terms of movies, I only watched 2. So I watched the movie adaptation of The Shooting Party. So the book is from 1980 and the movie is from 1984. So the movie has some changes in some settings in which some scenes and dialogues happen. Of course, that in the book there are inner dialogues, so you can go into the head of the character, what doesn't happen in the movie. But something that I noticed is that I was expecting some dialogues in certain times in the movie, and they happen in another scenario. So the dialogues that I very enjoyed in the book are there, at least the main ones, but they happen not in the sequential timing that happen in the book. But it doesn't take away nothing from watching the movie. The only thing that I thought it was a shame was the cut of the last events. So after the beginning of the First World War, we don't have those exchange of letters or information between characters, and what happens after the war. So we don't have that in the movie. We just have to a certain point, and then the rest is you will arrive to the end of the movie thinking very much about what happened, and as it contextualizes the timing in where and when it happens, you will be thinking about what will happen after that. But in the book we have some events that happen after the war, but in the movie they are not shown. But if you have an interest in the story, I highly advise you to watch the film. I didn't knew any of the actors, but they were exquisite. I liked very much the portrayals of the characters. Of course, my favorite was Sir Randolph. So if you came by to read the book, watch the movie, because you will not be so much disappointed. So go and watch it. And then the other movie that I watched was a movie from 2011 called Melancholia. This is with Kristen Dunst as one of the main characters. So this begins with with a wedding. That's with a limousine. That the limousine, because it is so large, it couldn't turn in the curve to the property. So we begin with a wedding, and we somewhat realize after a while that the bride is a bit, at Kristen Dunst, it's a bit depressive, and she has somewhat a problem with herself. So the parents are divorced, but they are present in the wedding. So the mother was against the marriage, not because of the fiancé, but because she's against marriage, because, hers didn't work out. The father brings two women that he calls Betty to both of them. So he's kind of a libertine in a way. Then in the wedding we have also the presence of the boss of the bride. She's working for a publicity agency, and she is the head of ideas of the company. And during the wedding, the boss wants his nephew to pursue the bride to get an idea for a slogan for a publicity campaign. Imagine. And the wedding, it's funny because there's lots of moments where the bride is, we know where she is, but she's not at a party. She goes somewhere alone, and she leaves the groom to be on his own with the guests, and they get to the party 2 hours later. So things are messy, we can understand. And then after that, because the movie is divided in 2 parts, we have the perspective of the bride, the character of Kristen Dunst, and then we have the perspective of the sister of the bride, but in a later date, where the sister accommodates Kristen Dunst's character to be in her house with her husband and son, because she's very, very low. She's very depressive. She doesn't want to eat. She doesn't want to get out of the house or of the bed. so she's very low. And then we have a phenomenon, so a planet that is called, the scientists called Melancholia, is passing by Earth. And what is being said to the population is that this said planet will pass by Earth and not collide with Earth. But the sister of the bride is perusing on the internet, and she's seeing conspiracy theories that this planet will do a turn, so it will pass by Earth, do a curve, and enter in the circulation around the sun of the Earth and collide with Earth. And this planet is very, very big, so it will engulf and destroy all Earth. And so the whole thing after that is the husband of the sister of the bride saying that she doesn't have to worry, the calculations are made, the planet will pass by, everything will be okay. And then we have the wife being scared because she has a son, right? And then she has this depressive sister in her house that treat her, she has some responses that are a bit dry and not so sympathetic. And we have a child that, you know, it has to be kept protected from what is happening. It's a very interesting and sad movie. Sad because of the vibe, you know, even in the title, Melancholia. So you have to expect that. Don't be deterred by the beginning of the movie, because you will have 7 minutes of the movie with scenes that seem random and out of place, but you will understand at the end of the movie every scene that happens at the beginning. So please go watch it. It's very interesting, but don't go watch it if you are low in your mood, because you will be worse. So go with it with a light heart and a light mood, then perhaps you will be low, but this is a very worthy movie to watch, I think, at least. So please go watch it. And so that's it for me. This is my February wrap up. Don't forget to subscribe, press the ring bell button, leave a like, follow me on my socials, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.